Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here, we're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors.
Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time.
All right, thank y'all so much for watching again. Shout out The Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hello, I'm Chris Juhlin.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do. Give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Well, I started off in Spokane, Washington. Moved around a lot. Went to school at Boise State University. Was a journalist down there. Took a break. Started writing music, different kind of writing. Ended up in Alaska and Colorado doing a kind of a summer marathon, winter marathon thing between those two places for a long time. And ended up here.
Whoa. Okay, so very full circle.
Yeah.
What made you move from journalism into music? Because I guess I kind of did the opposite.
When I was in school, there was still kind of a traditional journalism going on. I wrote for the paper, online in the paper, and then I went straight through, high school, college, and I just wanted a break. Started picking up the guitar more and more. Went to Alaska because a friend was up there, and it opened up the world for me because packing in a bunch of work and then travel in the shoulder seasons, spring and fall, and then going down into a winter escape like Colorado.
Alaska has a cool music scene too. From what I've gathered of the few people that have been on the show that were from Alaska originally, it sounds like there's actually a lot going on up there.
Yeah, it's a little bit behind in terms of trends and whatnot, but people, especially in the rural areas, really value live music in a way that is kind of, nostalgic in a way. Yeah, so I was selling CDs when CDs maybe weren't, as they were kind of being phased out.
Yeah. Well, tangible medias are coming back.
Yeah. But it was nice. I mean, it was a lot of fun up there because that was the music we got, and really tight knit community. And going down to Colorado, kind of cycling through, it was fun in that respect too, because there was a different group of people we play with, and then we go back up and
Colorado's got a good music scene as well.
Sure.
So, you were definitely in solid spots for that.
Yeah.
Now, what got you into music initially? What was the start of that for you?
I was really into music young. Grade school, leading the play, singing, and then I don't know, puberty happened, and chasing different kind of things, academics, sports, stuff like that. Always loved music. Was really into a lot of different things, and just kind of forgot about that part a little bit as I was growing up and focusing on different things. But toward the end there, some of the bigger feelings, existential stuff, romance, stuff like that started to come in. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew I had to express myself. And I ended up going and buying my own guitar, teaching myself, just kind of had the self-motivation toward the end of high school.
Gotcha.
To kind of do that stuff, and kind of led to where I'm at now.
Gotcha. And And so you kind of just been playing ever since, or were there stops along the way?
No stops.
Okay.
It was 100% who I became. It was such a big part of what drove me and what I loved and what I was into. And I mean, I'm into a lot of things. We all are.
Yeah.
But it was definitely part of the backdrop with every move I ever made. And whenever I traveled, I never left home without the guitar. So.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into more of what you do in the present day, I do have a couple foundation questions I like to check in with everybody on. This first one is one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Boy, by album, what do you mean? Like record, tape, CD?
If you have answers for all three, we'll take all three. But just the first, like an album, like it was released as a like body of work. The first one where you were like, I need to go buy this.
First tape was probably Poison.
Nice. Nice.
First CD was probably, I think it was Naughty by Nature.
Okay.
First vinyl was actually, what was that? Dr. John. What was the name of the album? The one with right place, wrong place, right place at the wrong time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I was better with names. I'm no help in that department, but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Those are all super quality choices. And growing up, was anybody in your household musical at all? Like, did you have any influence in that realm, or like you just? Not
my immediate household. My folks had me super young. They were just trying to get by. Mm-hmm. Fleetwood Mac and Beatles were on, on vinyl quite a bit. But my grandfather was a crooner of the 40s, big musician, uncles, musicians.
Okay, so it was nearby.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then what was one of the first live shows you ever went to? That was like specifically one you wanted to go to. So you saw what was happening, you got the tickets, you went to it.
I remember we had a foreign exchange student from Denmark and took her out to NXS.
Oh, nice.
And
that's cool.
In Spokane, yeah.
Okay.
It was one that really stood out to me.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
Who do they play with? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
That's all right. I'm sure that was a real cool show.
Really good show.
Oh, yeah.
Never Tear Us Apart really stuck out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then before we officially get into it, and I guess you already kind of shared this, so if that was already the answer, that's fine. But do you have a defining moment where you decided you wanted to take music more seriously?
I mean, I think there were moments with friends where we were reflecting, and like some psychedelics played a part, I think, early on.
Allegedly,
listening to some Pink Floyd, really like put an exclamation point on my new acquisition of the guitar, and just like what might be capable there. So I kind of immediately started to try write songs. I wasn't just trying to learn covers. It was like,
I was in the same boat. I really didn't love figuring out stuff that was already there. I was like, how do I make my own things? And my bass guitar teacher was like, that's a lot harder for you in the beginning, bud. But I'm in the same boat as you. I think it's in the beginning, it's so much more fun to like trial and error your way into doing cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I remember learning Wish You Were Here, which is one of those songs that has a lot of the open chords in it. I did take a lesson from a guy, and he was like, hey, pick a song. And that's a really good way to learn.
Yeah.
Just picking a song that you like, preferably one that has a lot of different chords in it.
Yeah. Or moves around a lot, just something to make you work for it.
Yeah. And I kind of went into it just with pure young and ignorant passion. It was just kind of like, just kind of chasing something with no goal.
Yeah.
And, that song particularly, I was really getting into Pink Floyd at the time and played that one. And I didn't really think about singing. It was more like, I want to learn the guitar.
Yeah.
And then something kind of clicked where I could I figured out how to like live in the pocket as a melody maker with my voice. And it just came really like quick and natural. And that I think was the moment when I like sang, and I remembered I had sang back in my younger years.
Yeah.
And then I'm okay, I guess I can sing, you know? So like it was kind of an awakening of sorts. And it was like, okay, it like opened up the world in a way for me. And I was like, okay, well, let's just keep going down this road.
Hell yeah. Wow, that's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
I appreciate that it's just in music, there are actually a lot more light switches than people realize.
Yeah.
There are a lot of moments where you can just kind of figure out stuff almost immediate, like in an instant, more than just like, you have to prepare for that instant through learning. But a lot of the times you stumble across the thing that you're like, that was it.
Giving it space, to be able to bloom, I guess you could say. And like, just kind of not knowing is kind of my MO, like just completely, I wasn't driven in that way or whatever. It was just kind of like, oh, I'm feeling this. It was all
what came out.
Feeling and feeling and feeling. And then it just, I bumped into the right kind of people that gave me a bunch of different influences. And then it was just like treasure. And it was.
I think that people need to stop shunning the influential aspect of music. Like, you are supposed to be influenced by people you like. They're doing things you like. Now, should you copy somebody verbatim? No, obviously throw your own stuff in there. But you have to like something to have a direction. And then by learning what you like about it, you learn the parts that you want to keep, and then you keep building from there so you have your own house.
Yeah, and let's be honest, like we all as musicians pretty much take in a way from our predecessors.
Yeah. You have to.
Yeah, I mean that's the nature of the human condition as we evolve, you know. Like so
I mean, sampling is literally just taking stuff that already exists and doing different stuff with it.
Yeah, is Dr. Dre not brilliant?
Yeah.
Being able to find the samples he did to plug into a new genre? No, he absolutely is brilliant in the way.
Well, that and just the pieces are not the finished picture. And we like, there's so many like videos on the internet of people who like make stuff out of other stuff that shouldn't be the stuff to begin with. So if we can do that and find joy in it, there's got to be some realm of breathing room. Also, genres technically wouldn't exist without that. But let's not dig into that too far. Let's go ahead and get into you in the present day. And we are going to get what I imagine is a very easy one out of the way. How did you pick your artist name?
Kaleida.
Yes, and actually, I have to preface this real quick. I had checked out all your solo music. I did not get to dive into the band side of things, so I apologize we did not go down that road.
That's okay, because it's new. So Kaleida, there was a first version of Kaleida in the 2014 to 17 era. And we had a little momentum going on there, but bands are tough.
They can be for sure, for sure.
This and that happened, and it kind of dissolved before COVID. And then I kind of regrouped. I built a little studio, and I was focused on a new band, which I'd started to develop going into COVID. I was traveling down to Colorado working with a band called Broken Land, had my material that they were working on, and then everything, if you remember, stopped.
That's why my old band Smooth Talk isn't a thing anymore. Yes. So I get it.
Yes,
I get it.
It was really rough. That was a hard time for musicians in general.
Yeah.
But for me, it actually became kind of a prolific writing time, which is weird how that comes up.
Yeah,
because you can't choose. For me, I can't choose when I want to be prolific and when I want to be not or whatever. So that kind of came, and I'm like, okay, I can't really start a band right now. I'm going to do a solo album. I'm going to reach out to my friend Luke from Alaska, who played with a band called Sweat and Honey. He moved down here to Portland. Really good guitar player. And then some studio musicians that I've met. We went in a jackpot during COVID, and we're like, okay, here's the material. We did, a couple months of rehearsals with it. went in and knocked it out, and that's what you heard. And my idea with that was kind of, if you build it, they will come. And that's always kind of been my thing. You know, I can't think too far ahead and it's too complicated for me. It messes with my creative process. So I was like, just try and make the best stuff possible and see what happens. And that's kind of where I was when I made that album. And then that studio band wasn't able to perform live on a consistent basis. So I had to find kind of a live band. And I reached out to some other friends, and then Brandon and Paul, Brandon Wayne and Paul Anastogi, they were in a fusion band. Kind of found them online, and didn't seem like the most obvious fit, you know?
Yeah.
But the drummer, Paul, was really interested in what I was doing. And he says, hey, I play with this really, he played guitar on a Grammy-nominated album and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, well, if he's interested, cool. You know, it's not that kind of music, but let's see. Turns out Brandon, he was really into that style of music as well. Big Neil Young fan, all that stuff. But he's a very accomplished lead guitar player. So he came into the mix. We started to support that solo material that I was doing as the Chris Juhlin project. And then as time went by, we really felt like we were a band, you know. And the original idea of Kaleida was a kaleidoscope or a collision of different influences. I'm influenced by reggae, funk, rock, you know, some R&B, you know, folk, Americana. So I kind of like the idea of songwriter-driven music with lots of different elements. You get super crazy with it, you know, all the time, but like to plug them in. And that's kind of where we ended up. And I was like, hey, you guys want to reboot the idea of Kaleida? You're playing quite a few of their songs as well. So that's where we ended up. So we're going to cut an album probably this fall.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Well, when you finish it up, bring it back and let's do a tuned in episode with the whole band.
Absolutely.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about your writing process. And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning. So when you get inspired, you're ready to make music, what do you do to get a track started? What does the beginning look like for you?
I tap into melody and imagery at the beginning. So it could be a guitar riff, a progression, where I'm just kind of working out a melody. And then once I have a little bit of a melody, then I try to visualize something. And sometimes it's nothing. You know, I'm just throwing stuff against the wall. And that's the refining process that I think a lot of artists go through.
The 10 bad ideas to have a good idea.
Yeah. You know, some people, some writers are just prolific in a way where they're just writing a poem and they can turn it into music. I'm not really that guy. I'll take the music and write the poem.
Gotcha.
For the most part.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Pearl Jam idea, you know, where the band has the music and then Eddie Vedder comes in and writes Black. That always fascinates me. I'm like, how do you do that? Because I'm more like, you know, I need to feel the hook. I need to feel the vibe, and that drives what I'm writing about. And then once I have an idea, it might just be 2 lines of a verse. Sometimes the whole song will come out of that. You know, and it's just kind of riding a wave. And I'm like chasing imagery all the time. And then the most important thing that comes out, that I hope comes out of the song, is that there's soul, you know, like soul and something that's good to listen to and that people can live in. I like songs where people can live inside of it with their own experience. It doesn't necessarily need to be a straightforward, like, hey, I love you, let's get married. More ideas, archetypes, and that, you know, and then imagery around it and descriptions.
I think it's easier for the person to attach to when the strokes are a little broader. Yeah. When you're able to say that's relatable because it kind of covers a wider range of things, then more people can connect with it in their own way. Feelings,
you know, it's such a, I mean, music can be intellectual. Like, I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan, and I think he's a very misunderstood person sometimes. because it seems so, like, what's he talking about and all this stuff. But what I attach to with this stuff is the way it makes me feel, the visuals that come to my mind.
Yeah, I see a lot of colors in music.
Yeah,
kind of just when I'm listening to things, I try to like attach it to that. Yeah. And that I think is, over time you learn to kind of paint with the sound in a way that you can create more than just a solid color.
Yeah.
And to be able to introduce kind of, different hues and shades and kind of like strokes and elements to it. It just, there are some people who they've refined certain parts of it in a way that you're like, oh, you feel an attachment to it because it's just, it's enjoyable by creation.
Yeah. The delivery is, like, if we're talking about Dylan, like the way he delivers a lyric, is really what gets me. Yeah. It's like one line can conjure up so much. And then I really like, with Kaleida, I like that idea with like some superb musicianship and really a good beat and some like, so
that's where you go away from the Bob Dylan part. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, totally. Like some of his stuff is a little bit more repetitious and
well, that was a time too. You know what I mean? Like,
I love it.
Yeah, like there were definitely like that's why I always have a hard time like comparing music of the thens to the music of the nows. Is like it's so influenced by the people and the person, and the person is so influenced by the people. Yeah. So just like the worlds are so different at the time where every realm of genre of music is being made. Yeah. And so it's I always have a hard time kind of like going back to things and wanting to be like subjective with it, because it's just like you have to take it for what it was then.
Yeah.
I am curious though, as far as like the words go, are you a pen and paper person? Do you like to do it in your phone? Are you on like every writable surface? How do you go about putting the words down?
Sometimes it's just economy of motion, for sure. It's become more and more the phone.
Yeah, it's just right there.
And it's almost ease of operation going on there. But I do like pen to paper when that opportunity is there. When there's a time where I'm sitting in my studio, I'm like, I'm going to write. There's a little bit more of that going on.
Yeah. Will you take something in your phone and put it onto, like, will you do pen and paper with it afterwards to like get it down?
End.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have it all in one place, or is it just like a sheet of paper?
I have writing books.
Okay.
I throw it in there. And usually that's in the end. Once I have the full song going into the studio, I'll write it down for posterity and for multiple reasons, just to kind of look at it in a different way. And just,
it's good to write stuff.
Yeah.
Really, you learn the words differently. Not so much better or worse, but you learn them differently when you have to actually like physically paint each letter with
becomes more permanent.
Yes.
But in reality, like sometimes I'm just like, a guitar's hanging up in a room and I'm like, boom, I'll just grab it, feeling it, write it, and I'm like, oh, there's something there, and I'll just
I gotta go.
Grab my phone, and I'll just hit record, get the voice recording on there. And I mean, there is really something to stream of consciousness in terms of just hatching ideas, capturing things. I've written so many songs that I really love that I don't remember that happened in the moment, and I'm okay with that. That
acceptance is really such a definable aspect to have, because making cool music is obviously the goal. You want to make good music. You want to make music that people like. You want to make music that you like. But you don't always have to record it. Sometimes you can just make good music because it feels good.
The feel, the moment, all that stuff matters. It's like, I kind of attribute it sometimes to like going on vacation and just taking pictures all the time. Like, I'm not a big picture guy. I like pictures. I like to capture stuff. I'd rather somebody else do that because maybe it's selfish a little bit, but it takes me from the moment a bit. So sometimes documenting takes me from the moment, and I like to have that flow. And when you can capture the flow and if you can put it on a record, that's my big goal in the end. And if it doesn't feel like that, it's not really achieving what I hope in the end. I mean,
Yeah.
I am open-minded to lots of different things that could happen, but ideally, and in my mind's eye right now, it's more about like capturing a flow and a vibe and a feeling that I feel good about, that I can deliver live, that people can take in and appreciate in a way that they genuinely want to put on and listen to. You know, It's not, I mean, that's the thing, you know, there's popularity and trending things and all these aspects of like getting your stuff out there, but really I want people to want to listen to it, not just because they want to support me or whatever. You know,
that you want the music to draw in people, not you as
exactly
just the person that's already.
I don't need credit, really.
Yeah.
I love the aspect of just giving it back. I mean,
I get it.
Let's be real, though. We all want. I mean, I want to be able to do this for a living, so there's a return there that you'd like.
That is a whole the narrative of like, I don't want to be rich. I just want to be able to survive off of music. I have a weird feeling on that sentiment, only because like the people who like blew up and made it huge back in the day, like the people who set that standard for it, they did want that to some degree. You know what I mean? That is something they always talked about, was the lifestyle, the way of being. And I think that's what leads to that. You know, you gotta want big things to get big things.
Yeah.
And that's not to say everybody needs to want big things.
Yeah.
But there is something in the sentiment of that I think
you want to share it.
Yeah.
You know, like
now
I can't speak for everybody, but
now we can give. Now music is so easy to give to the world that the people who want to do it because it feels good are able to.
Yeah.
And that is the best part of music as a whole. Like, yes, everybody will argue the narrative of oversaturation, and there's, 100,000 songs coming out a day, and hasn't ever anything reached to the top. But there was a point in time where you were lucky to have an instrument in the house.
Yeah.
Like, you used to have to go to a building where one person would play an instrument, and you would just get along with everybody while you enjoyed that instrument like that.
Yeah.
So now to have that as an option, that's a gift to everybody. And that's not something that should be taken away. But I'm tangenting real hard. Let's get back on track here. Once you get a track finished writing, so it doesn't have to be recorded and released, but you've gotten it down, you're ready to start memorizing it. How long does it usually take you to feel comfortable enough to perform a track?
That's an interesting question, because I see a lot of live music, and you see people that really accomplished, have hits or whatever. And when they come out with a new song, they're almost always a little insecure about it, right? You know, they're like, oh, we got a new one. And it's very natural to feel a little, I mean, because you've delivered something before that is so received. And then there's this pressure, about the new one.
Yeah.
I think that speaks to a level of fame, I guess you could say. If you don't really have that level, it's easier in a way.
I mean, I always still felt nervous when I would debut a new track. But I
think we all feel the same way, I guess.
It doesn't affect your whole life as much if everybody doesn't like it.
But I can speak to this on a band level, because a band gets comfortable with songs.
Yes.
And then bringing a new one to the band, it's a little bit of an uphill climb all the way through. Yeah. Because everybody feels comfortable with this, and then like there's a new one, and there's this kind of trepidation and nervousness a little bit. As you get older, it's you get a little less nervous, I guess you could say. But it is hard with a new song, especially new band. Ideally, you're working with people that you're really close with, and you could hatch a 2-line idea. Yeah. It's not refined. And that's really where the gold is in my mind. Like, that's the goal of this new band that I'm working with here. Is most of the material that we're working with for this new album has come from me writing something, band adapting and tweaking,
Yeah, and then a whole song coming from it.
Yeah, and then there's a few that are a little bit more like it was a line, and then we worked it out.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to, Brandon is a writer as well, bringing in a little bit more of that collaborative writing style, which is exciting to me.
It goes a long way when you're willing to introduce other people's strengths into the creation side of music.
Yeah.
Like that, because then you just have music that would not have been made otherwise.
Yeah.
Like you can make all the music you're ever going to make.
Yeah.
Like mathematically, that's how much you'll ever make. But you would never have made the music you two or, the whole band will make together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tricky part, and I read a bunch about Pink Floyd as they went through their odyssey in the 70s and how, I can't remember who it was. I feel like it was Gilmore. It was like, our only litmus for the songs is, do we like that? Do we like the song?
Yeah.
You
have to.
Yeah.
You have to first.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the tricky part. Someone has something new, your friends, maybe right out of the gate, it's like, I don't know. So that's the real challenge. That's where this 4 or 5 person marriage comes in and all that stuff. And I think going back to Floyd, Waters was writing stuff on like Animals and The Wall where not everybody was quite into it.
Yeah.
But he was, and that's kind of where the band fractured.
That is, yep.
No bit of the history there, but it's not that far off from all bands.
Yeah.
Like you all have to there's compromise, what you're into. Can you think outside of what maybe you've all done before and do something different?
Well, like you said, it's a marriage is actually a very good description of it.
Sure.
It is. It is a relationship of sorts because you are all minds of individual aspect who are trying to do something together that is so personal. Like making music is so like you invest so much of yourself in it. Like I remember whenever I would come up with a cool bass line, it was my job to play that bass line. Like when I was when I play live, I'd be like, all right, it's coming up to the part where I got like, this is me. Like, this is it. This is what we're doing. And that just, so there's something to be said about that.
100%. Yeah. Like I feel like everyone I've ever played music with, I'm just bonded to in a way that I don't think everybody's like that, but I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you show up happy to be there, most of the time people will be happy to have you there. And it's a lot easier to get into the room with a lot of people if you're happy to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about some of your music. So I jumped on Yield Spotify and I did go and check out the music under your name. And you got music going back to 2009 on there. I almost said 2009. It's been a day. And while you don't have a ton quantity wise, the 2 albums that you currently have up definitely runneth over with quality. They're like, I appreciate that, you left your 2009 album, Last Train of Joy, available because your realm of music has changed. Like it doesn't feel the same. And it's progressed. And by like the end of that period, like that album was good for that time. For sure. Like you were clearly tapped in. You're very, very obviously aware of like the sounds. But you do a good job of adding a lot of variety. Because, you've definitely, like you said, you've got some folky stuff, got some reggae stuff, you got some like almost like country stuff. And you got a couple of like classic rock-esque moments throughout there. So when I heard the early album versus Thrive, which only came out 2 or 3 years ago, that was a great way to experience like your progression of sound. Like how you've like moved and how you've like interpreted and brought new things in. And while your new album, it's very polished. It feels very grown, but on like a music level, if that makes sense. And I will say that I put a question in the middle here. Well, I don't usually put in a question here, but we're gonna break this up for a second. I would like to say, what would you say is the biggest change to your music between those 2 albums?
That's a good question. That first album was a culmination of it was my first album, right? So I had written a lot of songs that didn't make the cut on that, right?
Well, you'd written all the songs.
So I had my whole life to write the first album, you know. And there was another one with that gets slipped under because of the way the algorithm works. It was, I played with a band called The Collective up there, released it the next year. Doesn't show up on the same.
Yeah, because it's under The Collective.
Really, it was like a double album almost. So that
I think you can go back into that now and update it to where you're like a credited artist individually, so it shows up on yours as well. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think
somebody put that in the comments if you know how to do that.
Yeah, I there's probably a way to do it. But they're kind of separated in a way. But essentially, those two albums were done in Alaska in a studio I built in a cabin. I built the cabin.
Oh, wow.
With help. But built my own little studio. And I'm like, I'm going to record these. And it was a very, very special and singular experience, right? Because I did almost all the instrumentation on it myself. I brought in people from Alaska to do, things that were interested. And we had a lot of fun with it. So it was very my mind-centric culmination of my early creativity, right?
Yeah.
Over the years, I've realized that hey, I don't want it to be so singular, and my own thing.
Yeah.
So with Thrive, I brought in, I released a lot of control. And I also grew a lot as a musician.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, clearly. So there was a lot of learning over that span. But Justin Chase at Jackpot Studios, he's with Tango Alpha Tango and Bathing Culture, I think is his other band. But he's super talented, great engineer.
I think he actually ran sound for two of my showcases back in the day.
Probably.
Yeah. Did he work at Shanghai? At any point, did he run sound out of there?
Probably, man.
I'm pretty sure. Justin, shout out to you.
Yeah, he's kind of all over the place. He might do this next album that we're doing.
Oh, hell yeah.
But he actually did some keys on Thrive as well. But I co-produced it with him. I gave a lot of a lot more license to everybody in the band that was playing on that record. So it was kind of I was just cool with surrendering a lot of that.
Yeah.
Because I did all the mixing and all the stuff on the other ones. So that was a cool experience. And I want to continue on that road. It's almost like putting it into really serious professionals' hands, their strengths. And I can focus more on
doing what you're doing
and writing and doing the other things and having someone help.
Yeah,
that I think was the biggest difference. Experience, kind of giving it to the process with people that you trust, and letting it be produced in a way that I might not have the prowess to be able to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Now, before I get into the next question, I usually bring up the most recent track. And you were actually nice enough to have sent yours in during the Jambox Listens that I never got to bring onto the show. So I did want to take a moment and talk to you about your track, Phase. And it's the third track off the album Thrive. And I can totally understand why you sent it in. Because it opens up in such a cool way. It with that sneaky lead guitar and the reggae-esque up and down. And then from there, it just drops into this very the hook. The hook is so catchy, but not poppy catchy, if that makes sense. It's one of those ones you want to kind of, as soon as you hear it, you want to get in on it. You want to kind of sing along with it. So it just grabs you really well. And overall, it's a really cool track. I think it is a good example of your sound. You know what I mean? If someone was like, hey, show me a song of his, this would be the one I would do. Because I think it's just a good song.
I like that song because it does tap into those different genres, the reggae and the kind of more I don't know, indie rock, classic rock, maybe a little bit.
I think indie is a wide enough umbrella to use for a lot of things these days.
Yeah, the build. I love songs with dynamics. giving you a little break, and then like sneaking in on you, and then boom, kind of getting you bobbing. That one was fun because I when I was figuring out which songs to put on the album, I had written that on my own, and it was my sister actually that was cool. She was like, "You got to record that one." I'm like, "Which one?" I forgot I sent you that, and she's like, "No, that's the one." And I'm like, "Okay." And I listened to her, and I helped.
Did she get a producer credit for that one?
I'll give it to her. Yeah. Nice. But no, so that was fun. And the band was excited about that one too. It was a fun one to play, a fun one to record. Brought in some really good vocalists to do some of those backing stuff. A gal from Colorado, and then another gal from Portland that kind of jived in on that chorus that you hear.
Oh, nice.
And Luke from Alaska doing the hook. So it was a team effort on that one. And then Justin really he took that one. He's like,
yeah, I got this.
I'm going to make this a project of mine, and he added sonic elements to it.
When you can see that your producer your engineer has invested themselves in the track, that goosebumps moment for sure. You're like, all right, I'm going to leave now.
Yeah.
See you in a few days.
That was kind of what was happening with a couple of the tracks on that, to where some of them kind of just happened.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, these just need to be polished up and whatever. And then, but those, that one at nighttime, he kind of took aside and was like, these are going to be my sonic projects for a bit.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
So that was cool.
And that actually segues well. Out of all of the music you have available, what are some of your favorite tracks to perform?
It depends. Like we talked before this about kind of like the room, the vibe. Is it a big room with lots of lights, or is it smaller, more intimate?
Yeah.
With the intimate rooms, I think Zen on that album is a sneaky one. It's one that we kind of thought, whoa, this is kind of a chill one. Everybody comes out and dances to that one. It's so different.
Yeah.
Just the way the pocket, and then the way that Paul will play it with brushes, and that one's a fun one just because there's so much space in it. I like songs with a lot of space where I can kind of get into the theater of the delivery of the song. That one's a fun one. Definitely Phase. We saved that one for, when we want people to come up.
Yeah.
And then we've got a lot of new ones that nobody's really heard except live. So that's kind of the exciting part of this next chapter. Is I think some of our best stuff is actually yet to be heard on recording. So
gotcha. Okay. And now I want to take a moment and zoom out. I want to look at kind of more music as a whole. What are you listening to right now? What are you just taking in as a music consumer?
Yeah. I've been really digging some of the Appalachia stuff, like Waxahachie. She's got a really good album, Tiger's Blood, I think is what it's called. That's also, sometimes my partner Heidi, she's, what she listens to is, if we can find that common ground.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one that fits that. I think of what else? Father John Misty. His new album's really good.
Damn, I haven't gotten to sit down with his new one yet. I'll need to make time for that.
Shaky Graves. Looking forward to going out and seeing him and his band this summer.
Oh, nice.
Kind of diving into that a bit, that kind of genre,
Gotcha.
Lots of space in that kind of music.
Very much so. Are you familiar with a group named Dirtwire by chance?
No, but I'll check them out.
They're like, the leading word here is not going to be as appealing, but they're like an electronic folk duo.
Oh.
And I'm curious to know what you think about them. So check them out.
I will.
Let me know.
Yeah, there's another band you sparked, Handmade Moments. Have you heard of them?
No, I haven't.
They're a New Orleans duo. Super crazy talented multi-instrumentalist. And they're on the same, there's a kind of a little bit of a movement going on in this area with Americana rock folk stuff. and it's a label, and I can't remember what the label's called, but John Craigie, I don't know if you heard of him.
The name sounds familiar.
John Craigie, Shook Twins, Handmade Moments, I think they're all on that. But that genre, there's something going on here that might get a little steam. I'm hoping. Yeah. I'm actually going to a Pondaroo music festival this weekend.
Exciting.
Check out some of those artists. So
yeah.
It's out in Sisters. So
damn, I'll have to go to that next.
I think it's year 2 or something of it. So it's kind of burgeoning.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Now, before we move into the next part, this next question is probably the densest question in the interview. But we talked about, your experience with music, the actions, the reactions. But when it's just you and music one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
It can kind of consolidate meaning in a way. Like there's lots of things that matter in your daily life,
Sometimes too many things.
Yeah, and there's things that matter on a existential level, just like getting food on the table and stuff like that. But what music, what music gives me is like it takes it all back in. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what I'd do without it. It might be more derivative. Yeah. Like I have to go out there and just strum on the guitar to go after the next idea. Mm-hmm. I'm always kind of writing something, and it's like an itch almost.
I understand that one.
Like without it, I wouldn't be very happy.
Yeah.
So that's why I love the acoustic guitar, because I can just kind of pick that up anywhere. I can travel with it. It's where all the songs come from. Mm-hmm. Even the electric stuff you've heard comes from the acoustic guitar, and then I transpose it.
Isn't that the good rule of thumb? Before you even go and play something on an electric, you should go and get good at it on the acoustic.
Yeah, it's just the way it's all started for me. Yeah. Like I started off as a solo acoustic musician, so that's where it all came from. I've definitely reached for more. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can do every song I've ever written on the acoustic guitar solo. I can play every song.
That is a good thing to be able to do. But not running away too far from your answer. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Also, I like that idea that it almost like takes your wide focus and pulls it in. Like that is a really,
it's the start and the end almost.
Yeah. It's a really, that I think displays or portrays, I think is a more appropriate word. That portrays the kind of the probably a very common experience that everybody has, but is not articulated well. Mm-hmm. That I think is a lot closer to how I think a lot of people feel music does for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're in a band situation, like I just watched Becoming Zeppelin on Netflix, which was great. Just kind of the way they wrote and performed and recorded was a little bit different. It was, the band sonically just crushing it.
Yeah.
And then vocals coming out of that. Mm-hmm. Although I might need to rewind a little bit. I think they did sit down with an acoustic guitar a lot with Jimmy Page.
I could see that.
And work it out.
Yeah.
They talked about that a bit. I think so that maybe is part of what I'm missing there. The part that we don't see.
Yeah.
That they, Jimmy Page on the couch kind of going through Ramble On before it became Ramble On.
I think we didn't get to see a lot of what any of that looked like for a lot of music back in the day because there was not as much accessibility to document everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, now it's like, I wonder if that makes some of the magic lost now you know how everything is made. But
not to
we
me.
don't have to go down that. Yeah. I love to know everything, but like sometimes the wonder leaves a little bit to the imagination, but we don't have to dig too far into that one.
But yeah, the wonder is how you deliver it.
Yeah. Well, that's what you strive for.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like once, whenever you're like, I wonder how they played that. I must figure out how they played that.
Yeah, the mystery.
Yeah, and then when you find out how it's actually played, and you realize you've been playing it wrong the entire time, but it was so close that everybody thought it was. That's fun too.
Alternate tunings.
Yeah. Well, I remember there was I don't even remember which Tool song it was, but I thought I had learned the bass line to a Tool song. And then I went and played it, and my guitar player looked at me and he's like, what you're playing is correct, but you're playing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it's played.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but I'm still playing it right.
Does it matter?
Yeah. But then he showed me I played it, and I was like, oh, that is much easier.
Yeah.
That is 1,000 times easier than what I was doing. I get why they play it that way.
You might have some of those like slides going on your version that you wouldn't have.
Well, it was more like it. I would have to remember what song it was to make sense, but it was like the opening to the track. It was the do. Is that Lateralis? I don't know. Their songs are all weird names, but yeah, like I figured that bass line out
The hard way.
not the right way it was played, but it was still right. So I'll take it.
Yeah.
We're not here to talk about me.
It doesn't matter.
We're here to talk about you. So let's get back into it. Now we're going to move on to some hypothetical questions. And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well. But this first one is pretty straightforward. If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive. Who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
Man, that is a loaded question. Geez. You know, there's the people you admire so much and you know so much about and so much of their catalog, like Bob Dylan, but I don't know if he's the guy I'd want to work with, right now in this time and place. I mean, I could just think locally. I'll just say John Craigie.
Oh, dang, that's the next question.
Yeah, it'd be cool because he's a really great songwriter. Harmonies are ripe. Just to work with a kind of a similar styled songwriter would be really cool.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or just a wailing guitarist like Jack White or something would be. But I don't know. Personality wise, who knows?
Let's imagine in these hypotheticals, everything works out.
Yeah. Not knowing anything about the personal.
In the realm of make believe, it all works.
Yeah. I mean, Robert Plant would be hella fun. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Now, did you want that to be your? Usually, I ask subsequently who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to.
Yeah.
You want to leave John as your answer for that?
Yeah, we'll do John Craigie there.
And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal in this sense. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, it was guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show, and it doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
I mean, I think the Gorge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just one of the greatest natural amphitheaters there are.
Very much so.
They're close. Red Rocks is cool too. But I think the Gorge. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Red Rocks is where I want to do an episode of this show one day.
That'd be rad.
Yeah. Kill Tony beat me to Madison Square Garden. So Red Rocks, I'm coming for you.
Live from Mars.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, they could have put out an album yesterday. Who would you want an album from?
I mean, I think if Pink Floyd got back together in their full form would be that, and I'll just say 1B would be like Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
For Pink Floyd, would you want it to be now, or would you want it to have been like the next album, like in succession, time-wise?
I think now, because I saw the direction they were going after The Wall, and I don't think that would have been very fun.
Fair enough. All right, with that being said, we are going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. What can we look forward to in the next 6 months?
Well, a new album from Kaleida. I think that's pretty much the top of the hill for me. We'll be performing as many places as we can in between.
Nice.
So,
well, definitely looking forward to all of that. For this next one, go and look straight at your camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me at chrisjuhlin.com. That's Juhlin, and kaleidamusic.com. KALIDA music.com.
Oh, yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Shout out to my band, Brandon Wayne, Paul Anastogi, and Craig Comerford, supporting that band there.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now, with that being said, then I've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary, Raw Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. But in all of music, what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a bit of a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
There's I think he only put out one album, Alexi Murdoch, an Scotch-Irish songwriter from the early 2000s that I'm surprised people hadn't heard of. So his name's Alexi Murdoch. Alexi Murdoch, he's a really, really chill, but just front to back great album.
Hell yeah. Well, that's a super cool rec. Thank you so much. Yeah. And definitely would categorize it as obscure if it's only a single album. Mm-hmm. So you nailed it. All right. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Chris Juhlin.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.